welcome to my review of Ninjago, episode 95, the season final for season 10, the epic conclusion to March of the Oni. And this video may take a while, because there's a lot to unpack in this episode. Even though it's just one episode and it's only 20 minutes, there's still a lot to unpack. Good and bad. Although I don't know how this season felt very rushed, as I've said in previous reviews. But other than that, it's still a good season. It just felt very short and rushed. It was overhyped. The Unis were overhyped and weren't as strong as they were supposed to be. But other than that, yeah. So anyway, first up, the episode starts off in the first realm with the dragon hunters, and the thing about this is basically Faith telling the story of how the Oni attacked the first realm. And see, the problem I have with this is this scene should have been in the first episode. Why are we it doesn't fit in how they did it. It's right at the end. Why are we only learning about this now? It's like, yes, I know she was unconscious and all that, but still, they could have done the scene. They didn't. I don't know. It was alright, but it's just it was out of place, considering what happened in the last episode in the fall. So anyway, basically, we got dragon hunters, and we basically see, darkness start appearing in the sky. The Oni appear out of a black portal thing. Which realm they came from is beyond me, but I don't think they came from the departed realm. I honestly don't think they did. It doesn't feel like the way they came from. I feel like they came from another realm. But anyway, that's basically that. But anyway, basically, the dragon hunters get their dragon friends, because they're now friends with dragons. First they were dragon hunters, and they hunted the dragons when Iron Man was there. Now that Faith is in charge, they're friends with the dragons. So now they are dragon riders, as I called them when I saw it. When I saw them riding the dragons, I automatically just thought dragon riders, from How to Train Dragon. Because, they're riding dragons now. Which is actually pretty cool in my mind, really. They really got to change their names. They can't be called dragon hunters anymore. And if in any future seasons that we see them in it, they call themselves dragon hunters, I'm going to be like, no. You have to call yourself dragon riders because you're riding dragons. But anyway, so basically they attack, and the black cloud basically dominates the dragons, which in my mind doesn't make sense, because this is Unis attacking. This is the Uni power attacking the dragons. And see, originally, if you remember the story, it was Uni versus dragons, and in case you didn't realize, the dragons kind of won. I mean, they didn't win, but they didn't lose like this. So the fact that they're losing so easily now doesn't make sense. It's continuity errors, and it was kind of a letdown. The dragons should have been, what they should have done is they should have had the dragons win but lose. They don't lose. Before, the Oni obviously won, lost, but they didn't lose. They just, ended up being vanishing and all that. And the dragons, that's how the dragons won. This should have been similar to that, but instead reverse, where all the dragons, but they basically escaped to Ninjago since they can travel realms. And, basically, they go find the ninjas. They got Ninjago, ninjas notice or something, and then they realize something's up. And then the Oni come, and then they could have had a much longer season. I don't know why. This should have been longer. But anyway, basically that happens. Firstborn is the only kind of dragon that gets away. Which means, because it is Firstborn, so she is still thing. And makes sense. And since Firstborn got away, she's my favorite dragon. Anyway, she's so big and her power is OP. I would definitely want to ride Firstborn. But anyway, basically after that, we return to the monastery with Faith and Wu and Masako in the room. Her telling the story, obviously. And the ninjas return. So this is taking ninjas' turn. gloom, all down and sad, and Wu wonders why, and then they don't really say anything, but he kind of realizes. So they don't say that Cole's missing, but Wu gets it. Then Gumding comes in, basically, all, confident and saying he's, all powerful. Even though he kind of got dominated by the Uni and by Omega, he still acts like he's all confident. It's like, dude, you just got pummeled by the Omega. You said you were the only thing that could defeat it. You said you were wrong about the Realm Crystal, and you're still acting all confident. Things, you were just, wow. But anyway, he brings it in, gives the golden armor to Wu and says, this is how we beat them, blah, blah, blah. And yeah. So anyway, from there, we basically have, Wu gives it to Kai, and basically, because, last episode, Nia said Kai can forge it back into the weapons. And so he gives it to Kai, and this is where people pointed out continuity, which, is true, because it doesn't make sense, but Kai was able to hold the golden armor. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's the golden armor. Like, it's all the weapons combined, and no one can possess all the weapons combined. I mean, remember, Zane kind of exploded, and yet, for some reason, Kai was able to hold it. Now, as we know, we got information from the creator on Twitter saying, the weapons were weakened over time, and that's why he's able to hold it. Still doesn't account for anything. Yes, it kind of counts for a little bit, but it still doesn't count. First of all, if the powers were weakened, then the Oni shouldn't have been scared of it. Because the Oni aren't scared of the gold part, the metal, the gold. They're scared of the power inside. And they would have been able to sense the power inside the golden weapons. And yet, for some reason, it's dormant. It's dormant, as he said. He actually said the words dormant. So it doesn't actually make sense in reality. It still doesn't make sense that the golden weapons Kai was able to hold the golden weapons. So anyway, you get a forge montage, with Kai melting down the weapons and making the weapons. Although, as we know, the weapons are not the same as they were originally, which is a little disappointing. But then again, I guess they're being reforged. So, Kai hasn't got the original blueprints, so he doesn't really know how to make it exact. And he's not the best blacksmith. He did pretty well. I guess he's gone better, but I mean, So it kind of makes sense that the weapons would be different in that way. Also, he's wearing his original outfit. His original blacksmith outfit from, the pilot, which was a really nice thing to see. Another thing I would like to point out about the gold weapons, just quickly, is the fact that even though the weapons are being forged back into 4 weapons, they were, if you remember, they were merged into 2. They were merged into golden armor and all that, and they were all merged. Melting them wouldn't actually separate the energy or the core power that was inside the golden armor. It would divide all that into each weapon. So technically, each weapon would now have all the powers, have all like the golden master powers, but separated. Simple as that. Also, the golden armor should be double strength, like double powered, since it also has the mega weapon inside, which means it also should have enough metal in it. So there's so many continuity errors in this, but it was still good to see. It was still good to see them, and it makes sense they look different because Kai hasn't got the original blueprints. But anyway, basically, after that, they get ready for battle against the Oni, who are basically marching up to the monastery. So they move pretty fast, considering the monastery is pretty far from the city, and they were all in the city, and pretty much... One thing that I think people don't realize is, and that it's kind of weird, in the last few seasons, and I mean few seasons, not just... All of the final battles have, and like all the attacks have all been on the city. What about the rest of Ninjago? I mean, personally, if people just wanted to survive, they just leave Ninjago and go live at Jamaica Village or something. It's like, Those places aren't actually touched. I mean, we don't see them, so they might be, but considering the monastery isn't, and considering you can't see any black cloud for miles, yeah. So anyway, it's amazing how fast they moved and how come the black cloud didn't move. There's just so many errors, but it's still great. It's still great. I would give this episode probably a 7 out of 10, 7.5. Anyway, next up we have basically Cole. We return to Cole, who has fell into the building. So he fell into the building, and he's not turned to stone. And there was actually a good. We now know why, which I'll kind of explain. But basically, he's not dead, and the reason for that is probably his superpowers, his elemental powers, which is Earth, and the fact that he's the strongest ninja, and he's kind of been said to have super strength. The reason he wasn't turned to stone is a few reasons. One, the cloud stuff, which is technically what turns you to stone or pulls you into the cloud area, and the fact that he was inside the building. Now again, there's still some continuity errors with that, but he was inside the building, so the black cloud was not affecting him. Okay, because it's not taking. It's still outside. If you stay in the building, like if you notice all those people in the building, they weren't affected by the black cloud. It's because they were inside a building. So anyway, as he wakes up, he notices the clouds creeping in, and he basically runs into the building to shut it. And when he shuts it, the tentacle kind of gets in, but kind of gets cut off. Although it's a cloud, so kind of doesn't know how that works. Like it's not actually a physical thing. So anyway, when he gets inside the building, he goes to fix his. I think it's a communicator, or some sort of communicator, or remote control. To summon his drill, which basically, he summons it, and then he has to figure out a way to get to it because it's outside. And, well, if he goes outside, he'll start turning stone. So when he goes outside, he ends up obviously starting to turn to stone, which, makes sense because he's not an Oni, as some people were thinking, although some people thought Jay was an Oni, but that never happened. Whew, thank God that joke theory never happened. Because funny thing is, even though it was a joke theory at first, people started believing it. So anyway, he gets to the drill, and then he basically escapes the drill, runs over some Oni that are still in the city, which was fun, and yeah, so because he's inside the drill, kind of has a fresh air thing where it sucks out all the toxic air, which is technically what the Oni cloud is. And for the people who wonder why he didn't turn to stone fast, unlike other people who went to turn to stone so fast, basically it's because of his elemental powers in mind, as I theorize, because he's not he's normal, but he's also an elemental master, so it would affect him less. So anyway, we return to the monastery where the ninjas are preparing a fight. Faith is up and about and joining the fight, even though she just got up from a massive injury. She still sings. And yeah, so we get to that. They secure all the citizens inside, so they're safe. And then they prepare for battle. The Oni arrive, obviously, and then the fight begins, which basically, is them fighting Oni, and nothing really exciting. Just, you see them fighting Oni, using the weapons, although they're using the weapons kind of lame. Like they're meant to have powers. I know they're dormant, but I mean it still doesn't make sense. Then if they're dormant, then why are the Oni afraid of them? It doesn't make sense. Cole arrives in his drill. Ninjas are excited. Stand there fighting. They all actually stop fighting and looking at him. I'm just like, guys, can we stop? Like, we're in the middle of a battle here. Like, you're literally just admiring, celebrating him being alive, but you're in the middle of a battle. So you should be, I don't know, fighting? So anyway, Nia gives Cole the sigh, which she got early in the episode, as because of the others had ninja, other weapons and all that. So, that's, I don't know, it's just weird. Maybe because he hasn't got an iron golden weapon, like people who actually say they want. So anyway, basically, she, Yeah, he jumps up, catches the weapon, all normal, heroic way, like in every action movie, and then just hits the ground and summons its power. Which means, wait, it was dormant, so how is he using the Earth power? So the battle continues, Garmadon heads down, and, uses his powers to fight Omega. Omega basically absorbs his power into the staff, and, all that. And then he basically transforms into an Onigarmadon, which, oh my goodness, this looked terrible. Plus, it just doesn't make, it's just stupid. He's not a full Oni. No matter how many times he says it, he's not a full Oni. And if he can do that, Lloyd should be able to do it. To be honest. Because Lloyd is also Wu should be able to do it. I want to see a Wu Garmadon, a Wu Oni. That'd be funny. With the beard and everything. But then he says something witty like, I've got a staff now too. It's like, oh, I cringe on that moment. But even though he turns into his Oni form, he's still no match for Omega, which is like, dude, your overconfidence is your downfall, Garmadon. Seriously. Lloyd tries to save him, fails because they nerf Lloyd. They then basically retreat to the monastery because they're losing, and they try and barricade the door, which obviously was never gonna really work because, they're Oni. Alright, so here's the point that everyone was looking forward to in this season. The proposal of Jay to Nia. The thing that everyone thought the whole season was going to be based around. Anyone remember that? Remember when no one thought that this season was going to be about Oni? I was hoping it wouldn't be about Oni if it was about them. Thankfully, they actually thought the season was going to be about them. That was another thing that people thought. and about Oni. Like, some people thought it's going to be about Janya and about the Oni. And I was like, no. So, it's kind of good it wasn't. But yeah, so this is a sign. We all knew it was going to happen in this episode. Although, we didn't think it would happen during this part in particular. And by that, I meant during the final battle. Literally, Jay couldn't have picked the worst time to propose. They're under siege from Oni. They've barricaded doors, and he just decides to propose to Nia. Apparently, some stuff that was happening around, like saying, there's never a good time type thing, and he just decides, it's like, and, the rest of the ninjas like, what? Not a good time? And it's just like, well, the only two that knew, Kai and Cole, the only two that knew. And it's like, yeah, it's not a good time. But obviously, it went the way everyone thought. They said yes, she said yes, so they're kind of engaged, and now we just need a wedding episode. Which, I don't know about anyone else, but I actually want to see an episode which is for the wedding. They cannot skip it past it. If they skip it, like in between this isn't their next season, if they do the wedding in between, and they don't do the wedding on an episode, I'll be annoyed. If they skip it in between an episode, I'll be annoyed. Like, it has to be. If I was them, since this was technically meant to be the 100th episode, including the pilot, I would do the actual 100th episode as the wedding. It's probably not going to be done, but that's what I would do. Like, the actual 100th episode, I would do as the wedding episode. Like, the actual wedding. Like, one thing that Ninjago has been doing differently, which I'm not a fan of since Rebooted, is it's all basically the bad guy attacking, and there's no cooldown period. Like in the original 26, there were cooldown periods. Like, it was a longer season and I like that. I like longer seasons because I like the main bad guy plot and then minor plots in between. Like, stopping minor thugs in not in this case, in other things. Like that. Stopping minor thugs, dealing with jobs. Although the ninjas, that's kind of their job. But, that kind of stuff. And cooldown periods like weddings, going to weddings, or planning a wedding and doing a wedding. Like, that's what we need. That's what they should do. Have things like that in between it as well. it's not really filler, especially if it's something that we want. And I'm hoping there's a lot more people who actually want a wedding episode. That would be an awesome cool down episode, and it would be amazing. I mean, we're all wanting that. We all thought this season was gonna have a wedding, kind of. Not really. So basically, that's what I want. But anyway, with that said and done, they obviously proposed, and now they were engaged at this point, and the Oni is still attacking, so it's time to get back to battle. Here is basically where Lloyd looks at the wall of history, or whatever it's called. I forget. I always forget. I don't really remember the wall, and looks down at the pilot one, which has the tornado creation, which is an homage to the start of the season, where in my first review of the first episode, if you remember, I actually mentioned that creation is how you beat darkness, destruction, not destruction. And I said Gamdam would not be the reason because he's destruction. You don't fight fire with fire. Okay, creation. And also the fact that, I also mentioned the fact that Wu kind of hinted at it when he said, balance, creation, and, and so I kind of actually hinted at this. I kind of knew this was going to happen in the first episode. You can all try and deny and say, no, you didn't. Well, go watch my first review. I kind of did. I didn't say it exactly because I didn't confirm it, but I kind of had strong feelings about it. So, they basically, Lloyd basically tells them about how his plan and how tornado creation is the best way, and then obviously they do it. He also, mentions to calm down how, we need him, although technically he's destruction, so that kind of doesn't make sense. Technically, you only need the 4 ninjas. With the extra destruction, Lloyd's power, and Wu, kind of made the tornado equation OP. But then again, I guess that's a good thing against the Oni, although the Oni didn't seem that strong since they were overhyped. But anyway, basically, you get tornado creation, they make it, it destroys the Oni, or at least you can see that it's up there. The Oni just look up at it and it destroys them, and then everything fades. Next up, we arrive in this floating realm, which people believe is the departed realm. Yes, it probably is, but considering how, Gamdan described the departed realm, I really don't think it was. Plus, I have some theories on that this might be something else, like the prime realm, like a realm, the center of all the realms, and all that, like where the golden, because I feel like the golden dragon is actually, since it's creation, the golden dragon's creation, the firstborn is the firstborn. What if the golden dragon is actually the first dragon, the first of everything, like really that created life itself? What if it's like God? And since the first Ninjutsu Master is basically like a god, maybe he didn't. We don't know that he, we saw a body, yes, but we don't know that was his body. He could have just put a skeleton there and left. Or maybe he died and left his mortal body and went to this place, since he's basically God. That would be I would like that. And, since Lloyd inherited his golden powers, he's there. Now, and so, basically he does that. First Ninjutsu Master basically has a nice conversation with him, and then basically offers to take him on, basically an adventure. People thought Lloyd died, but I feel like he went to that realm because it's a god realm. I'm still trying to think of names for it. But then we see basically, and also we see, at the end of this part, after, we see, Lloyd and the first Ninjutsu Master hand. Next up, and then obviously after that, we see this black cloud disappear, the sun appear again, which is to symbolize, light coming back. All the people begin to turn back from stone, which, is what happens, including the first realm and the dragons. I'm assuming the dragons turn to stone too. They wouldn't have been destroyed if the people weren't destroyed. And we see the golden weapons, which are glowing, and then they fade. basically symbolizing their power is gone, which again is just like, I don't know, it just bothers me. All the ninjas basically get up, everything's all wrecked. Actually no, nothing's wrecked. I would say only the door's wrecked. I don't think everything was wrecked, I think it was just a door. We also see Lloyd under the door, and everyone basically thinks he's dead. But I never did. Not even close. Not even one bit. I knew he wasn't, and I knew he wouldn't have been. They all got around, they were sad. I mean, like, you guys were sad about Cole too, you know, and he turned out not to be dead. Lloyd wakes up, obviously, and gets up. They walk off to somewhere, and yeah, Wu turns around and sees his brother basically leave the monastery, and considering his brother is in evil again, I'm surprised Wu didn't try and stop him. Wu just lets him walk off, like, you know, they nod at each other and walk off. Granted, Garmadon is going through a period of redemption again, and I have no doubt the next season will further that redemption as possibly a side story. Now, as for the Lloyd thing, a lot of people wanted him to, quote, die, which he did not die, people. I cannot stress this enough. He did not die, people. I personally would have liked him, like, he did not die, I could not quote that enough. Would have liked him going to First Ninja Master as, like, you know, First Ninja Master going, teaching him about the universe. Because he's not dead, he's basically become something more. In that, if he stayed, he would have become something more than what he is now, which is a normal human. Would have become OP again. Would have become the Golden Ninja again. Would have gotten his golden powers back. Like, literally, I would have liked that. Where he goes the journey with the First Master, and then basically, I would have liked that as another side story. To be honest, I would have liked that. And then obviously that would mean another season would focus on Lloyd, but it wouldn't focus on him in the same way. It would be very different. I would have liked that, actually. I really would have. Anyway, basically after that, we jump ahead to, you know, where everything's fixed again. We got all the people back. Scarlet, which, where the heck were you, Scarlet? I mean, where were you? We could have used your help against the Oni. I mean, seriously. Also, where was Pixel? In the final battle. She was not there. It's just like, So anyway, they go over, the ninjas end up walking over to this paint station with 6 colors, symbolizing each ninja color, and they put their handprint or claw print, whatever you want to call it, on the wall in like a symbol, which is actually a really cool looking symbol, and I like it. And that's basically what happens. They basically do that. Then it shows the ninjas and all the people behind them, and then goes up to the sky where you see Firstborn flying, off, basically probably about to open a portal to, first realm again, and then basically we see writing appear, which translates to the end. Which people are like, oh no, this is the end. No, people. Okay, it's the end of the Oni and Dragon arc story. Kind of like Avengers Endgame is going to be the end of the fate of the Infinity War arc. People, seriously? So, plus, remember episode 26 ended pretty much the same way. It was an open ending. That's what it is. This is an open ending. So there's still room for more. It bothers me how people jump to conclusions sometimes. I get they can have their own opinions, and I get they can theorize their own thing, but people use logic in your thinking as well, in your theories as well, and don't jump to conclusions. And don't say things are fact. But anyway, basically that's my view for the season final of season 10, March of the Oni. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check back as I will be doing more Ninjago videos, news videos and all that when I can. I have a lot to do, so yeah. Anyway, see ya! Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.